We're collateralizing securities. We're collateralizing stocks. We're collateralizing stablecoins. We're doing everything we can to be able to push this financial space to be able to include more people to be able to engage in trade. And I think now there are going to be more people than ever before, not only bringing cash or bringing money to the space, but bringing their business to the space. People like to talk about tokenization, but they don't talk about what you do with those tokens, right? So you're able to tokenize these securities, these stocks, these whatever. The means of being able to lend and the means of being able to collateralize is a very simple way to exercise a lot of these assets coming on chain. So if you tokenize a series of assets, well, that can now act as collateral to be able to lend against. Or let's say you're able to bring more capital on chain and you're able to now lend that capital to other people. There's an element where all these business models already exist and the technology also exists for these models to persist. But the problem is the majority of the people that are engaging in lending are not engaging in crypto lending, and the people that are engaging in crypto lending don't have the same capital as the traditional people in lending. So we want those traditional lenders coming into crypto to tokenize their assets, collateralize against them, and lend with them to be able to engage in this new DeFi crypto space. Like everyone should be able to trade, not just the biggest brokers, the biggest traders, the biggest banks. Everybody should be able to trade with anybody else who has access to the internet.
Hey, what's going on, family and friends? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm bringing you an exclusive conversation straight from the XRP Las Vegas conference with one of the most dynamic minds in the blockchain space, Quincy Jones, lead developer on the XDC Network and a force behind the next wave of decentralized finance. In this interview, Quincy and I dive deep into the real future of crypto, not just tokenization, a buzzword now, but what actually unlocks value once assets are on chain. We talk about collateralizing everything from stocks to stablecoins, why traditional finance is finally waking up to DeFi, how tokenized businesses will reshape trade itself, and why open global access to capital matters more now than ever. If you're still wondering where DeFi goes next, even after Ripple just announced its application for a bank charter license, this episode is for you. And yes, you heard correctly, Ripple just announced its application for a bank charter license. This gives Ripple the seal of approval on its way to becoming the World Bank. Having its bank charter license enables the company to participate in credit formation, meaning Ripple can create loans or credit lines that inject money into the economy, lending money to individuals, businesses, or even governments. So grab a coffee, settle in, and let's get into it with the leading XDC developer, Quincy Jones. Thanks for tuning in. Love you mucho.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're here day one at the XRP Las Vegas conference, and I've got the hottest commodity in the room, the Quincy Jones, a leading software developer on the XDC Network. How you doing today, Quincy?
I'm feeling pretty good. It's fun being here for the 30th time in a row. Fun seeing you here, always having a good time. A lot of new projects, a lot of new engagement, socialization. Community really came out, like over 1,000 people here. It's been kind of crazy. I just had a previous panel earlier with some of the First Ledger guys. It was really cool seeing what they had going on and just having a really good time, having a lot of fun. Really appreciate it.
You had First Ledger, you had Vet up on stage. Yeah, some real leading voices within the XRP community. What was that experience like for you?
It was actually really cool. One of the biggest things that we wanted to talk about was what is the future of these different markets? We like to talk about RWAs, especially in terms of the future of finance and crypto, but we also ended up talking about the future of what tokenization may look like. A lot of them were focusing on a lot of these retail consumer brand-based organizations. They're starting to get into notions of tokenizing brands, starting to get into notions of tokenizing small organizations, being able to tokenize sort of other abstract aspects of their business or of their project, whatever it may be, and then being able to add a level of liquidity to that. So it was really cool and sort of the analogy I gave was, it's almost like social media, where when social media came out, Facebook, that was just a place to connect with your friends. Now, there's probably people right now watching this on social media. There are people who make a living by being able to create social media content, by being able to do so much in this domain that people didn't necessarily anticipate. It's the same thing now when it comes to tokenization. It's just we're able to see or able to foresee RWA tokenization. It's hard to be able to see what is that social media brand tokenization going to look like, you know?
Well said. And while you're saying this thing, I'm thinking about how I turn on the monetization on my YouTube videos just so I can watch them all over and over and over and make the incremental pennies.
And that's the thing, that's like a whole new innovation too, because think about it, when Zuck made Facebook, do you think he was focusing on monetization and all that? No, it's one of these things that we're continuously built upon. So I think we're starting to see that with tokenization, sort of like the social media-fi of tokenization, where individuals can be able to find more abstract things to tokenize versus stable coins and derivatives and securities, you know?
Well, on the topic of stablecoins, with the Genius Act to be coming into the fold here, market infrastructure bill, what type of impact do you think that these crypto-friendly regulations will have on the U.S. market versus the total global market?
So I think this is going to be huge. I feel like a lot of these markets were sort of constrained a little bit in terms of where they could go. Now that things are a bit more open, people are a little bit more lax, people are a bit more comfortable. There's an element in which not only more capital or more cash can flow into these markets, but people can actually start engaging in a multitude of different types of trade. It's no longer just the retail market where just, Joe Blow drops $100 in some random meme coin. We're starting to see a lot of bigger players come into the space, start listing assets, and people starting to be able to engage with a lot more of these formally established assets. Yeah. And the big thing about that, especially when it comes to crypto, people are like, how much money is coming into crypto? How much money is coming into crypto? What's happening? The biggest thing that this is going to allow is it's going to allow for traditional businesses that were already engaging in some element of trade and bring that trade to crypto. Yeah. So instead of just focusing on how much cash or how much money is coming into the market, how much trade, how much volume, and how many more participants are now able to now engage in the crypto space now that it's open, as opposed to how it was the previous years.
On the topic of trade finance, understand that XDC, that's its main focus. And having brushed elbows with Ken Chapman at Token 2049 Dubai, at the Digital Fusion Summit in Texas, at the recent Bitcoin conference, I'm seeing him all over the place.
Everywhere.
Yeah. And so knowing that he is taking the helm of U.S. partnerships on the institutional level for XDC, what type of growth do you see happening on that side of the house for XDC?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things that's been a huge push, and Ken has been probably like one of the lead pioneers for this, he's an amazing guy, is being able to introduce new type of models to these traditional organizations. So they'll sit there and say, we've done this way, how can we make it better? And people like Ken, or even people like myself, are able to go into these spaces and be able to articulate, here's how you can be able to have a better level of settlement, a faster means of efficiency, a cheaper means of engaging with partners, more liquidity with more partners. We can start articulating these things. And due to the climate being a little bit more open, we're actually able to get people to say, hey, how can we start adopting these technologies? And how can we start taking the models and the processes that we already engage in and start injecting them into these new spaces, creating these new types of models? Yeah. We see people talking about DeFi and like, oh, you're able to lend and trade and collateralize, but we're not seeing that with traditional assets. So what if we're able to see that in terms of those traditional assets being able to be pushed into the DeFi space? And now we're not just collateralizing random NFTs or random crypto coins. We're collateralizing securities. We're collateralizing stocks. We're collateralizing stablecoins. We're doing everything we can to be able to push this broader fintech space, this financial space, to be able to include more people to be able to engage in trade. And I think now there are going to be more people than ever before, not only bringing cash or bringing money to the space, but bringing their business to the space.
And what type of businesses are you most excited for coming on chain?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things that I'm really excited for is, I would say, probably lending and collateralization. And the biggest reason for that is it's simple. People like to talk about tokenization, but then they don't talk about what you do with those tokens, right? So you're able to tokenize these securities, these stocks, these whatever. The means of being able to lend and the means of being able to collateralize is a very simple way to exercise a lot of these assets coming on chain. So if you tokenize a series of assets, well, that can now act as collateral to be able to lend against. Or let's say you're able to bring more capital on chain and you're able to now lend that capital to other people. There's an element where all these business models already exist, and the technology also exists for these models to persist. But the problem is the majority of the people that are engaging in lending are not engaging in crypto lending, and the people that are engaging in crypto lending don't have the same capital as the traditional people in lending. So we want those traditional lenders coming into crypto to tokenize their assets, collateralize against them, and lend with them to be able to engage in this new DeFi crypto space.
We just want everybody to get along.
Exactly, right? Like everyone should be able to trade, not just the biggest brokers, the biggest traders, the biggest banks. Everybody should be able to trade with anybody else who has access to the internet.
We have the resources available to level the playing field and give everybody an equal opportunity worldwide. Before I let you go, Quincy, how can those in the audience follow you and learn more about you as a leader in the space?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Twitter or X, or on YouTube at Coin Club Quincy, or your bro Quincy if you kind of want to go the casual route. But yeah, I make content online. I help break down more technical and complex concepts and break down a lot of different startup business models to people who aren't really privy to it. I'm here to have a good time and really here to show people what crypto's all about.
For those in the audience who couldn't attend, what would you say to them?
Oh, the people who couldn't attend, I really have to apologize, but you're really missing out. Seriously. Yeah. But no, in all seriousness, the biggest thing that's really going on here is people are able to communicate and people are able to collaborate. So the big thing about these spaces, and I go to a lot of these all the time, is a lot of people that see each other every day on the internet finally get a chance to come together and talk about what they're doing, how they're doing it, how they can work together, will they work together. It takes this semi-informal notion of engaging online, like a lot of people do, and bring it to be a little bit more real. And just as an example, like Vet, for instance, right? I spoke with them in a panel earlier today. I see him every day and almost talk with them. I was talking to him a few days ago on Twitter, but it was nice to be able to sit down with them and be able to chat and say, hey, what's going on? What are you guys doing? Wow, is this interesting? How are you guys building in this regard? Oh, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm working on.
What kind of beer do you drink?
I know, right? What type of beer do you drink? Are you more of an IPA guy or are you a light beer guy, right? Like, what are you going for? Like, so it's just, it brings a level of social ability that doesn't really come with the internet. And it really, I'd say it creates a lot more growth than just the notion of everyone seeing who's posting what online, you know?
Yeah. Well said, Quincy. You know what? It's always a pleasure brushing elbows with you.
Of course.
Before I let you go, have we grown to a place where you thought we would be 3 years ago?
The amount of people that are showing up to this event is exponential. I came the first year, couple hundred. Yeah. The second year, it was like this, a bit bigger, maybe about 2, maybe 3 times as many. This year, we're breaking over 1,000. So I've seen the amount of people that have shown up to this just increase exponential over the past few years. And it wouldn't surprise me if it doubled again in the next few years, just from the amount of engagement and community that's been all able to reside here.
Out of all those thousands of people coming to the conference, maybe Matty G might show up.
That'd be a fun one, right? That'd be a real fun one. A real OG meeting, right? Like.
Anyways, Quincy, love spending time with you. I appreciate you. Have a great time in Vegas.
Oh, thank you. Really appreciate it, man.